No one wants to talk about it. You know, you have to dig really deep. All the normal websites, space.com, spacedaily.com, galaxy.com, you know, they don't want to talk about this. They don't want to talk about this massive bombardment of energy. We had something like 73 coronal mass ejections in the 2-month period, most of them over 10 days. They don't want to talk about each one of those massive bursts of energy. Is like 1 billion tons of plasma whacking over the planet. Now, not all of them came in our direction. Some of them shot off. But that doesn't matter because it's charging up the whole of the solar system. And some of that energy is bouncing back towards Earth anyway. No one wants to talk about the conservation of energy. Where is that energy going? It's just... Anyway, it's...
We see what happens.
Okay, I just want to say the other thing that people are chatting about in the blogosphere is the South Atlantic anomaly. And basically it's the whole... This is the weakest part of Earth's magnetic field where the Van Allen radiation belts are very close to Earth. And this hole, you can see from 1590 was nothing, and it's just got bigger and bigger and bigger. This is signs of a reversal taking place. And obviously with the latest thing with the birds dying, people are starting to see this as a sign that a flip is imminent. So basically, when it comes to the Earth's magnetic field, they're seeing this racing North Pole going into Siberia, and they're seeing this hole just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And the scientists, they don't really have a lot to go on. It's something that doesn't happen very often. What we could see is the Earth's magnetic field fragmenting. It may not even completely disappear. I don't think it will completely disappear. I feel that I have confidence that the universe is organising this in such a way as to ease the transition for us. But eventually, we're going to have something that is going to help create a new Earth. Just want to point out for the people interested in what's the impact of this big hole, lots and lots of failures with the satellites. And that's really the reason why space scientists don't really want to talk about humans. Everything's all about technology and the impact on technology. I would like to think in terms of not just the technology, but humans too. Okay, but that's just for those who are interested in the technology, that's the impact. Lots and lots of software errors associated with this hole. It's just a real problem. Okay, now, this is probably a little bit controversial. The discussion of fire in the sky. I just felt it was important to explain the fact that we haven't really helped ourselves on this planet by setting off all these nuclear bombs, quite frankly. We've had something like about 2,010 tests between 1945 and 1996. To me, it's like blowing a hole in the roof, and when it rains, you're going to get wet. That's what our scientists have been doing, and I think they've got a particular problem in the United States because of all the experimentation, as well as setting off bombs in the Van Allen belts. Okay. So here, I just want to point out where this has been taking place. We've had a lot of bombs being set off in this region of the Earth. I just want to note to you that when we had a massive burst of energy in 1989, that the testing just dropped off, completely dropped off, and we've virtually nothing since this sort of time. I feel that the energies on the planet have become so unstable that they couldn't set off any more bombs. But I still want to just talk about the damage that was done in the 1960s. Basically, the Americans and the Russians just went crazy. for their own reasons. They weren't happy with the ionosphere. It doesn't help them with their communications. It's not good enough. They wanted to just destroy the natural system and create something artificial, even though they don't actually understand how the Earth works and what all these belts of radiation were doing. What are these currents flowing through space in these fields? A very, very strange attitude, actually, quite frankly. And literally, they set fire to the sky a few times. This is what... Sorry, I want to go back here. Here, the Queen's astronomer, Sir Martin Ryle, who I think is now dead, this is the experiment where they made the biggest protest. They say, you guys are crazy. They literally did this in secret. They didn't ask anybody's permission to blow holes in the roof of the world. They just did it. It's the mentality. And there's a whole series of these experiments they did, literally burning holes in the sky. I just don't believe that we can just ignore that fact that they did this. Okay. So here it says that the Earth's magnetic field took 10 years to return to normal. I've read conflicting things, actually, quite frankly. I'm not sure if that's actually true. Different sources say different things. We just have to be aware of the fact that we have done a lot of damage already to the Earth. I just want to point out Sir Martin Rees, who is the current Astronomer Royal. He's the Queen's official astronomer. And he doesn't have anything nice to say about the US military at all, quite frankly. His book is considered to be extremely apocalyptic. Extremely apocalyptic. And for someone in his position to say the things that he says is actually quite interesting. But I believe that this man is aware of ancient knowledge, of tremendous change on this planet. He is aware of what has happened in the past. And therefore, he's coming from a totally different position to other people. His criticism of the US and the mentality of the military is actually quite strange. But he's got to the stage, I suppose, he doesn't care anymore. This is what he thinks. That they've abused their position. They've done things that they shouldn't do, and he's prepared to actually say it in public. So the other thing I want to just mention is we have had events taking place like Tunguska, which we don't completely understand. We have had fire in the sky. Lots and lots of investigators have come up with different conclusions. Some think that an asteroid exploded in the sky. Some people even think that a nuclear-powered UFO exploded in the sky. All we know was that there was just massive devastation, but at least it was in a fairly remote part of Earth. Okay, so this is the place, Tunguska in Siberia. It's probably one of the best places for it to happen. I know it sounds terrible to say, but this was a massive, massive event where we literally had this pillar of fire and light. Massive explosion, the biggest natural explosion. It's interesting because I just want to point out the fact that when sources talk about the sky being on fire and the Earth being destroyed by fire, we have examples of this fire. I just want to point this out. I think it's important. So, I've done my own research, and in my essay, The Greatest Transition, I talk about energy hitting the planet, a huge burst of energy that will help to light up the grid. But there is the other side of Earth's grid not being able to completely harness this energy, and a runaway reaction taking place. And the person that's done that work, I believe, is Robert Felix, and I'm recommending this book is to explain what happens when it goes wrong, or let's say the alternative option or the alternative thing happens. And he talks, and it's an easy to read book. it's not complicated, but he just talks about the fact that we can have runaway reactions in the sky that create huge amounts of soot, huge amounts of carbon. It can create all sorts of elements, iridium, all sorts of things like beryllium-10. You just get like a runaway reaction. And he basically is saying what scientists don't want to say. Okay, he's basically saying, look, this is the evidence and this is my conclusion. A lot of people have read his work and he's getting a lot of support from scientists, especially because he talks about the connection between magnetic reversals and ice ages and the magnetic field collapsing. All I want to say is that when the Earth's magnetic field collapses, there is a massive release of energy. And you want to stop me now, do you? Okay, so here I just want to point out, if you want to do the background, so I've nearly finished actually, that if you want to look at this website, which is basically radiocarbon, they explain that carbon is naturally created in our atmosphere. And that basically the nuclear testing has actually created lots of artificial carbon. And now all of a sudden they want to actually want to take the carbon out of the atmosphere. So we've had all these nuclear bombs putting carbon into the atmosphere, and all of a sudden they want the public to pay for it to be removed. Okay? It's as simple as that. What concerns me is I think that we are seeing a strange reaction taking place in our atmosphere now. We seem to be seeing, I believe, some kind of fusion effect taking place. I actually would like to talk to chemists and people who've studied this. I'm not a chemist, but to actually explain why we're seeing extreme energies in Earth's atmosphere. I believe that something is happening. And I think that what they want to do, this is my opinion, maybe I shouldn't be saying this, but I believe taking the carbon out of the atmosphere is to stop this reaction taking place, where we seem to be having a really strange catalytic process taking place. This is just for the chemists here, okay? Anybody, I would be interested in talking to anybody about this. Okay. But from a cosmic viewpoint, I believe that Earth is graduating and that we're seeing these sparks of life. From a cosmic viewpoint, Earth is starting to sparkle. Earth is starting to be like a jewel in the cosmos. We're seeing these massive bursts of energy, but from another perspective, Earth is starting to shine in a completely different way. With this massive bombardment of energy, there's something happening on another level. Okay, and I just feel that, just to point out, it looks like bombs going off in the universe, but it's not. To me, this is something on a deeper level taking place. It's transmutation of energy. Okay, I'm to shut up now.
We want to break, if you allow
Okay.
us.
Okay, I
Can
think
you just
that's
say
the
in
end.
2 words what you are going to say after the break?
Okay, after the break I'm going to talk more about humans and more how this has been affecting us. I've been quite technical up till now. I think hopefully there'll be opportunity for people to ask some more questions. This is a beautiful picture of an aurora, and I just felt it was more appropriate. Can you not hear me? Louder, away from my mouth. Is that better? Closer to the mouth. Closer? Yeah. Oh, okay. Okay, you can hear me now. Okay, now, I don't want to be too technical, but our scientists keep telling us that they're looking for dark energy and dark matter. And they have all these incredible theories that I believe is a search for understanding of this world, of this invisible world that we can't see. And we have various different theories. this one I've pointed out, is the mirror matter. It's interesting because our scientists are saying